Primeiro vem Venu-gita, depois Pranaya-gita, depois Gopi-gita, depois Yugala-gita, depois Brahmara-gita. São as 5 gitas do Bhagavatam que mostram muita viraha, muito amor de separação. O Ramachandra Prabhu falou pra gente sobre isso. Se não tem viraha, amor de separação no teu coração, você nunca vai alcançar Bhagavan. Você tem que ter esse tipo de avidez. Como eu posso alcançá-lo? Como eu posso alcançá-lo? Oh my God, sorry, I'm speaking Portuguese. So you have to say, oh, find me. Oh, I got this very rare human birth. But I'm not doing bhajan. So you should feel in your heart this kind of repentation. Like this repentation in your heart, condemning yourself. And then God will appear in front of you. To manifest God in your heart, there's only one way to manifest God in your heart. You must have this kind of like repenting with eagerness. So Venu-gita Katha. So in the heart of the gopis, Krishna has so much, they have so much eagerness to meet with Krishna, and this eagerness is awaking in their hearts. So this is so beautiful katha, so beautiful katha. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Vrajendranandana Shyamasundara, he has 64 qualities. How many qualities? 64. In other avatars, these qualities are not in full. The other acharyas explain about this. The jivas, they have only 50 qualities, but very little bit, 50 qualities. The demigods, they have the same 50 qualities in more quality, but in more quantity. And Mahadev Shiva has 55 qualities. Bhagavan Vishnu has 60 qualities, and Ramachandra has 62.5 qualities. And Brajendra Shyamasundar has 64 qualities in full. And in these 64 qualities, 4 are extraordinary qualities. No one is equal to him. Incomparable. So, Venu Madhurya, Lila Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya, and Prema Madhurya. Only Brajanana Shyamasundar, he has these 4 extraordinary qualities. This Madhurya, this sweetness, the devotees, according to their eligibility, they relish this sweetness, these Madhuryas. So just like you heard as well, according to the Rasa Tattva, there are 12 rasas. The acharyas explain there are 12 rasas, 12. So 5 main rasas, primary, and 7 secondary rasas, also called Gona rasa. Shanta Dasa Sakya Vatsalya Madhurya. This is called 5 primary rasas. Hasya Adbhuta Karuna Birbi Vatsa, etc. The 7 Gona rasas, 7 secondary rasas. Braja is such a beautiful and sweet place that there all the rasas are there, all the rasas. Just like in the great ocean, all the rivers come and they merge in the ocean and they meet in the ocean. So in the same way, in Braj is such a divine transcendental place, Braj. All the rasas are serving in Vrindavan. Some people say there is no Shantarasa in Vrindavan, but our acharyas explain, yes, it is there. When Srimati Radhika, she serves Krishna in Shantarasa too. She serves Krishna in the neutral mood. Yes, everything is there in Goloka Vrindavan. Why? Because Braj is complete, the complete Dham, complete Dham. So that devotee from different rasas, Bhagavan will manifest a different form and sweetness in front of different devotees. And in this way, Bhagavan is making the devotee relish that rasa, and Bhagavan himself is also relishing that rasa as well. So beautiful, this divine and transcendental Vrindavana Dham. In the 10th canto, Shukadeva Goswami Pad describes all that. That thing that for a long time he was trying to hide in his heart for a long time, Shukadeva Goswami. But when the time came, he started manifesting what was inside his heart. What is the meaning of Braj? Brajayati, Chalayati, Gamayati, something which is always moving, that is Braj. Something which is always divine and shining and manifesting. The flow of the sweet rasa always flowing in Braj. So describing this Tata Vichara, these philosophies, our acharyas describe that, look, first the Sthai Bhava manifests the fixed mood, and on the basis of the Sthai Bhava, 4 ingredients come: Vibhav, Anubhav, Sattvic, and Vyabhichari Bhav, or also called Sanchari Bhav. And then Vibhava also 2 kinds, Alamban and Udipan. 2 kinds of Alamban. Ashray Alamban and Vishay Alamban. Anubhava, also 12 kinds of Anubhav, 33 kinds of Sanchari Bhav. All of them together make the rasa so stimulated, so relishable. The acharyas, they describe in one word. They say there are the 49 ingredients. So 49 ingredients are there. 49 ingredients. And then the rasa is relishable. Just like the bumblebee. The bumblebee relishes the lotus. Imagine a lake where there are many lotus flowers with very nice fragrance on the air because of the lotus flower. So in that same lake, a frog lives. Who? A frog. Tack, 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 make things kind of noise. But the frog, he's not able to relish the sweetness of the lotus flower that exists in that same lake. Sometimes he jumps on the lotus flower and he even contaminates the lotus flower, he makes it dirty because he doesn't have the ability to relish that nectar from the lotus flower. But the bumblebee comes from far away and the bumblebee is able to relish the makaranda, means like the pollen and the nectar of the flower of the lotus, because you can attain things depending on your own eligibility. So this example is given. So this is the introduction. In the introduction, I want to tell you that who is telling these Gitas, so the Gita, these different songs on the Bhagavatam. First is Venu-gita, the song of the flute. The song of the flute. Venu-gita is what? Purvaraga Katha, means that when the gopis are anticipating meeting with Krishna. Purvaraga Katha. So what is Purvaraga? We have to understand the definition of Purvaraga. The acharyas in the book Ujjwal Nilamani, they say, when the hero and the heroine, Naika, before they meet, they are so eager to meet with each other, so eager. They're thinking, how can we meet? So by hearing each other or seeing each other, they become so eager to meet. And in the Rasa Shastra, this is described as Purvaraga, anticipation in the meeting. In the transcendental world, even after the first meeting, still they manifest purvaraga, anticipation in the meeting. Because in the transcendental world, there is only one Nayaka, one hero. How many Nayakas? One hero. Who? Brajendra Nandan and Shyama Sundar. Nayakas, many can be, like many kinds of heroines, like the gopis. There are 360 kinds of gopis. 360 kinds. The main heroine is Srimati Radhika, Mukha Nayaka. And Krishna, Brajendra Nandan and Shyama Sundara, he is Dhira Lalit Nayak. He is the Dhira Lalit Nayak. So at that time, Srimati Radhika herself, she manifests the mood of Swadhina Bhartika Naika, means the heroine that gives all order to her beloved. There are many conceptions about the rasas. The acharyas have described all that, especially Srila Rupa Goswami Pad in the book Ujjwal Nilamani. Manifests the explanation about Shringaras, Naika Prakaran, the different kinds of heroes and heroines. Ujjwal Nilamani describes all that in details with examples. Because if we haven't yet entered Rasa Shastra, we won't be able to understand. We only know in this world about the mundane like novels, of a hero, heroine, like we study in the university. We know these love stories of this world, but it's actually a very stinky thing. It's not actually love. But in the spiritual world, in the transcendental world, the prema is so beautiful and so shining, like so effulgent. Divine, transcendental moods are there, and sentiments, divine sentiments. So, these 5 songs, Panchagit, so Venu-gita, song of the flute first. So then, after Venu-gita is Pranay-gita. So Pranay-gita was Pranay-gita. Krishna plays the flute, calls the gopis, and then when the gopis, they turn up and they come close to Krishna, then Krishna makes fun of them or jokes with them. And then hearing this words of Krishna, gopis feel in their heart so much separation, viraha. And that's called Pranaya Gita, the song of the pranaya, of love. So you call me in your house, you say, please come and take prasad in my house. Then when I finally come to your house, I knock your door, and then I say, why did you come here? I say, why did you come? So Krishna told the gopis, you are welcome. But why did you come? How can I serve you? So Krishna called them to do rasa. Krishna called them for Rasa Lila. In this verse, Nishama Gita Tadananga Vardhanam, it's explained, Krishna called them with the sound of the flute. When they came, Krishna started joking with them and made fun of them, like, why you're here. And also Krishna became like a great instructor, trying to give instruction to the gopis at that time. In the end, the gopis became very upset. And the gopis, they also, by making questions, they also like taught Krishna a lesson, like, so that's called Pranayagit. Like they also, so eye to eye with Krishna. And then after the Ras Leela, Krishna disappeared. And then Krishna, later he reappears in the assembly of the gopis. And at that time, the gopis, how they were actually feeling so much separation. And they started glorifying Krishna. And then that's called the Gopi Gita. Jayatite Adhikam. Krishna disappeared and the gopis sang his glories. That's called the Gopi Gita, the song of the gopis. Then there was Jugala Gita also. Jugala Gita is 2 verses with double verses. The beauty and sweetness of Krishna is described. Actually, Venu-gita and Jugala-gita look like same. So with a pair of verses, things are described. That's why I call Jugala-gita. Jugala means double or couple. Double gita is song, like double song or something. So after that, Krishna went from Vrindavana to Mathura. And then at that time, Srimati Radhika, she was feeling so much separation, that transcendental madness. That's called Brahma Gita. So there's 5 main Gitas. The 5 main Gitas are the 5 life airs of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. No, nothing ordinary. So very beautifully described. So we're going to hear about Venu-gita. So Bhagavan performs Leela pastime. Shukadeva Goswami says, Anugrahaya Bhaktanam Manusham Deham Asrita. Bhagavan is performing pastimes like a human being. From all of Krishna's pastimes, topmost Leela is Vraj Leela, pastimes in Vraj. Krishna manifests. So Krishna manifests this beautiful peacock feather, 3 bent folds. With his sidelong glances, Krishna stills the heart of all the living entities. And then, when Krishna is walking, who can describe his beauty and his sweetness? Bala Vrindavana Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Krishna is so pretty, so beautiful. He's performing his pastimes in Vrindavan. So the Leela is happening eternally in the spiritual world. And Bhagavan manifests this with his Yogamaya, he manifests this Leela in this material world. Why? For thousands of years, these devotees in this material world, they were so eager to see Bhagavan, and they were performing so many hard austerities, performing bhajan and sadhan. So to give mercy to these devotees, Bhagavan manifests his Leela in this material world. And then Bhagavan comes with his associates and from these beautiful, sweet pastimes. And in this way, he purifies the hearts of these devotees. And then makes this devotee completely absorbing him in him, and then brings them to the spiritual world. So 2 things of Bhagavan happen at the same time. Anugraha and Nigraha means mercy and also chastisement. So with the devotees, God gives mercy, Anugraha, and for the non-devotees, God gives punishments, Nigraha. But the punishment of Bhagavan is also mercy to them. So the acharyas, they say, there is in the chastisement the mercy is there, but in the mercy the chastisement is not there. So Bhagavan gives mercy with the chastisement. So we should hear this kind of Harikatha, like the pastimes of Lord. So Bhavet, the word is used in this verse. Vidiling means imperative mode, means it's an order. So the Sanskrit is just bhavit. It's just like the instruction of the Supreme Court, the Supreme Order of the Supreme Court. You cannot break that rule. So imagine a order that's coming from the lower court, but when it comes from the Supreme Court, it's like you cannot deny, you cannot not follow. You have to follow. Some people say, "Oh, no, I'm not qualified." No, no, no. You have to hear. You must hear. That's the Supreme Order. You must hear these pastimes of Bhagavan. So if you won't hear, then you have to be chastised. If you won't follow the order of the Supreme Court, what will happen? You will be punished. So in this shloka, bhavet means vidlinga, means it's an order. It's compulsive for you to hear these pastimes. So these beautiful pastimes are being described. And which Harikatha? It's being mentioned specifically. Bikriditam vrajavadobir idancha Vishnu. The worst disease of the heart for the living entities is the disease of the lust. The disease of the heart is the lust. What is Haridrog? Means the disease of the heart is the lust. By hearing this beautiful Katha of Bhagavan, what happens? Immediately Prema Bhakti will appear in your heart. And then forever lust will be vanished from your heart. So there is a special rule and a general rule. So the general rule is that you have to go through all the stages. Shada Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya Nata Nivriti Nishta Ruchya Shakti Bhava until Prem. So there's an order, like sequence. But this verse explains clearly, even though even if you have still lust in your heart, if you hear these pastimes of Krishna with faith, Shraddha, first Prema Bhakti, Braj Prema Bhakti will appear in your heart first. And then after that, lust will be destroyed or vanquished. But how is it possible? How is it possible? Imagine, for example, you have a clay pot full of mud. Can you put water in this clay pot? Tell me yes or no. No. First, you must take out that mud from the clay pot, from the pot, and then you can fill it up with water. When the pot is empty, then you can put water of the angels inside. The verse says, oh no, even if the person has lust, but if the person hears this Harikatha, first Prema Bhakti will appear. But how is it possible? How is it possible? Because the Harikatha has a transcendental potency, inconceivable potency, Achintya Shakti. I'm not saying, in the commentary it's described. The commentary describes. The Achintya Shakti is there. Just like, for example, Mani Mantra Aushadi. The stones, crystals, mantras, and some herbs, they have a special power. Example, you get like a touchstone, it's like a sorcerer's stone, philosopher's stone. You don't know it's a touchstone that turns iron in gold, but then suddenly you touch an iron and then the iron becomes gold. So it's like amazing, right? Inconceivable. Example, some herbs are able to cure so many diseases, like it's incredible power. Also mantras, for example, you can get many kinds of mystic perfection with the mantras. Especially the Gopal mantra is very famous in that regard. When Bhagavan Ramchandra, he was going in the Dandakaranya forest, by seeing the beautiful, attractive form of Lord Ramchandra, many munis and rishis, sages and sages, they were absorbed in Gopi Bhav in the forest, and they started running, chasing Lord Rama. They have been chanting for 10,000 years the Gopal mantra. And then by chanting Gopal mantra, what happened? Gopi Bhav appeared in their hearts. By seeing Ramchandra, they felt Udipana for Krishna. means stimulation. They start remembering Krishna. Ramachandra told the Munis and Rishis and sages, "Hey, Munis and Rishis, I know what's in your heart, but in this Rama avatar, in this incarnation of Lord Rama, I won't be able to accept you as my consort. Because in the time of Sita's, when I got married to Sita, I gave a gift. I gave her a gift. Ramachandra said, I gave Sita a gift. Because when they got married, Sita, Lord Ram told Sita and said, Sita, in my family, generally, the kings, they married to many women. Like you see, my brother, he got married to 360 wives, women. Even though three were the main ones, means Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumitra. But he had more wives. He had 360 in total. So Bhagavan Ramachandra told Sita, even though in my dynasty, in my family, actually, their kings get married to many women, but I want to give you a special gift. I will never, ever marry anyone else. Means I will have only one wife, only you. Ekapatni Vratadhari. So one wife vow he had. So because of this, Lord Rama, when he was in the forest, he told the Munis and the Rishis, I can't accept you. But by the mercy of my Yoga Maya, you all will take birth in Braj, in the womb of the Braja Gopis. You'll attain the body of Gopis. And then after, when the Rama Lila is finished, when I take birth again, means when I appear again in this world as Krishna, then at that time, you will enter my Lila. You'll take birth in the house of the Gopis, in the womb of the Gopis. You'll attain the association of the Nityasiddha Gopis, the eternal associates. And because of that, you'll develop deep attachment for Krishna. There's a special thing about that. Lakshmi Devi also tried. She tried to enter the Rasalila. She tried. But until now, she hasn't been able to. Why? Why is that? Because Lakshmi Devi, she didn't want to accept anyone's guidance. If you don't take the shelter of the Vraja Gopis, you'll never be able to attain Brajendranandana Shri Krishna. The eternal Gopis, Nityasiddha Gopis. You must accept their guidance. But Lakshmi Devi didn't want to do that. Lakshmi wanted to enter in the Rasalila with her own body of Lakshmi. Lakshmi was thinking, oh, just like my body now, like very beautiful. With all these my ornaments, this clothing, like a queen of Vaikuntha, like a queen, no? I want to enter the Rasalila like this. But no. You must associate with the Nityasiddha Gopis, then you develop the strong attachment, anuraga to Krishna, and then by the mercy of Yogamaya, slowly you'll be able to enter the Rasalila. So why I'm saying this? I'm talking about something which I have, inconceivable power, like mantra. Example, Gopal mantra. If you chant properly Gopal mantra, certainly this mood will appear in your heart, and there's no doubt about that. So, by hearing the Harikatha, what will happen? That's what I'm saying. So there's a special conception and the general conception. So Rasalila Katha is so deep and so important. We must hear Rasalila Katha. But there is one point about it, which is we must also never try to imitate. The Shastra never said, don't hear that Katha. Don't hear Harikatha. No. Shastra, everywhere in Shastra, in the scriptures, describes Srinatam Sakata Krishna, hear Harikatha. Always saying that we should hear Harikatha. Because by hearing, what happens? Swayam Bhagavan, Shri Krishna, enters in our ears and goes to our hearts. And then all kinds of dirt we have in our heart. Who will clean? Bhagavan himself, God himself. Sometimes I say this. If there is mud in your body, you clean with soap. But if there's mud and dirt in your mind, how will you clean it? Though, like, how you clean? Then Gurudev said, please applause. So if your body is dirty, you clean with the soap. But if your mind is dirty, you must use which soap? The soap of the holy names. Names of Bhagavan Ram, Krishna, and also Harikatha. Then Swayam Bhagavan cleans the heart of the devotees. And Bhagavan himself sits on the heart, sits in the heart of the devotee. So Bhagavan, to give mercy to the devotees, he manifests all these pastimes. Even though all these gopis, they are the eternal companions of Krishna. They are Nityasiddha gopis, they are the eternal potency of Krishna associates. Some gopis, they perform they attain perfection in the sadhana and attain the body of gopis. Actually, there are many kinds of gopis. The Shastra and the Acharyas describe all that. Many kinds of gopis are there. Some they did bhajan sadhana in group, not in group. This is called Jyotik, Ajotik. Some they were rishis, Munichari. Some they were Shrutis, Shrutichari. Different kinds of origins of these gopis. Many kinds of gopis origins. Now let's dive into the Gopi-gita. What is the Venu I want to say? The flute. So we're going to hear about the flute. So what is the flute? Bhagavan is playing the flute. So there are three kinds of flutes. One is called Vamshi, another is called Murali, and another one. So Venu, Murali, and Vamshi. So from all of those, Murali is the longest. Four kinds of Vamshi. Remember that? Mananta, Nanda, Vijay, and Joy. Four kinds of Vamshi are famous. In the book called Shri Krishna Prema Tarangi, Grantha, all this is beautifully described. What is Mahananda? 10 finger size. How many? 10 fingers. 10 fingers size. Mahananda, the name of this Vamshi. 11 fingers, it's called Nanda. 12 fingers size. Flute is called Vijay. 14 finger size of width, it's called Jai. So 10, that's better, get it. 10, 11, 12, and 14. So Venu, Murali, and Vamshi. Krishna performed his pastimes with these three kinds of flutes. But the sound is different. Depending on the sound, Bhagavan will attract that kind of devotee. When you say Venu, 12 finger of width, and how many holes? How many holes? 6. And 12 finger width, like size, 12 fingers size. Murli, 2 hands of size, and there's a hole in the next to the mouth, and also 4 other holes. It's called Murli. Vamshi, 8 holes. Somebody was showing this today. So how many holes are there? 8. So every half finger there's one hole. Half finger size there's a hole. Anyway, Bhagavan plays the flute and is attracting all the living entities, like attracting all of them. In the book called Lago Bhagavatamrita, Srila Rupa Goswami Pada also described in the Lago Bhagavatamrita, Srila Rupa Goswami Pada says, from all kinds of sweetness, if you put all of the sweetness together, still, even one little bit of the sound of the flute is more sweet than all the other sweetness together. Like the sound of the flute is so subtle and so powerful. If the sound of the flute once enters in your ear, it never goes out ever again. Until now, if you go to Vrindavan, actually Krishna is still playing the flute. Is he? Isn't it? Isn't he? And then the gopis went to find Krishna when they heard, we are here. Actually, Krishna is calling everyone. Krishna is calling everyone. It's not only them. Also Sarvabhuta Manoharam. Some sound of the flute actually stills the minds of all the living entities. But there's one speciality about the flute. One is called Samohini, like hypnotizing. Like the gopis, for example. The heart and the mind, they were completely captivated. Like, example, the gopis were sleeping. And then Krishna, of the sound of the flute, which is actually clean, which means Kalu Vamadisham Manoharam, means the sound of the flute is actually clean. The sound is clean. And it's actually the Bija mantra. Bij mantra is the seed mantra. In the Guru mantra, for example, the seed mantra is called Aim. Beautiful explanation about this, but it's not proper to speak about this in front of everyone. Anyway, the sound clean comes in the heart, in the ear, of the gopis, and it manifests the bhavas in their heart. And then the sound of the flute. The friends of Krishna also heard the sound of the flute, and then the Sakas, they thought Krishna is calling us to go for cow grazing, and the same sound of the flute Mother Yashoda also heard and said, Kanaya. Oh, Kanaya is coming after cow grazing. He's so hungry. So Mother Yashoda, she prepares so many sweets for Krishna. So the same sound of the flute also enters in the ears of the gopis. And in the gopis, they become so agitated because of the love and they cannot contain themselves. Smarodoyam. Smaro means prem, transcendental lust. Actually, the lust of the gopis is actually their love. The love of the gopis is the lust of the gopis. So when you use the word lust in relation to the gopis, actually, it's their love, their prema, which is transcendental prem. Prema iva go goparamanam. Karma iva vidyate. Means this transcendental love of the gopis looks like lust. So this love is so strong that they give up all the patience, all the rules of society, everything. The gopis, they forsake everything and they come running to meet Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, Shukadeva Goswami describes all that. One of the gopis, she was serving her husband, and then she was making a chapati, the roti for her husband. She just gave the one chapati in his plate, and the husband was waiting for the next one. And then in the meanwhile, she heard Krishna playing the flute. The gopi just ran away through the back door. So all this is described. All this is described because one gopi, she was all dressed up. She was all like, like dressed up, like nicely dressed up. But she was applying makeup, like kajal, eyeliner in one eye, and she was about to do it in the other eye. But in the meanwhile, she heard the sound of the flute, and then she ran like a mad woman, ugly, and she ran and came to Krishna. Krishna saw that the gopi was so, like nicely dressed up. Her clothing, her makeup, like very beautiful. But she only had kajal, means eyeliner, in one eye, not in the other one. And then Krishna asked, "Oh, why you didn't also put, the makeup in the other eye?" And then she said, "Krishna, I was getting ready to come, but then in the meanwhile, you played the flutes. Please applause." Gurudev is saying, "Everyone, please applause." And then, hearing this, Krishna's heart melted by hearing these words. And then Krishna himself, he asked some kajal, some eyeliner to one of the sakis, and Krishna himself finished applying the eyeliner in that gopi's eyes. And then there was some left of the kajal, of the eyeliner in Krishna's hand, and then Krishna just rubbed it out on a stone. And until nowadays in Vrindavan, in a place called Ajanok, you can see that stone. That stone is still protected inside the temple, and if you like rub that stone, that black kajal will come in your hand. People don't believe it, but it's true. Some people don't believe it. Anyway, what I want to say is that all the activities of the gopis are all to serve Krishna. Everything for his happiness. Well, coming back. So Vamshi, Venu, Murali. The scriptures also describe how the origin of these different flutes. So in the Bhagavatam we hear about Venu-gita, means the song of the flute, specifically the Venu. So Lakshmi Devi, she performed hard staircases in Belvan. And then finally, Krishna gave her a spot, a place where? On his chest as a golden line. Some people say, "I'm Bhagavan." Oh, are you really Bhagavan? Let me see your chest. Because those who are like God himself, in his chest, on his chest, he has a golden line which represents Lakshmi Devi. Another point is also that Bhagavan, God, he has the Bringucharan Lanchita China, means the how can I say, the footprint of Brigurishi on his chest. If you run behind any person that calls himself Bhagavan, you're gonna be destroyed. Like everything is just finished for you. Like we won't get anything good. Anyway, so Lakshmi is in Bhagavan's heart as in the shape of the golden line. And then also Saraswati Devi, for a long time, she was also performing austerities to please Bhagavan. Finally, in the end, Bhagavan accepted Saraswati and told her the following: "I will accept you as the flute, as the Venu, as the Vamshi." So Bhagavan accepts Saraswati as the flute. So the Puranas describe the birth of the flute in this way. There are many stories in the Puranas explaining why did Bhagavan accept Venu, the flute, because actually Saraswati Devi, which was the presiding deity of the speech and the knowledge, she performed hard austerities and became the flute. So sometimes later on we're gonna hear about it. The gopis sometimes they glorify the flute, sometimes they do. And they say, "Oh, flute, you are a dried piece of bamboo and you're full of holes. But how are you so lucky?" Because our beloved Govinda is resting you upon his lips, and you're just like a king on the lips of our beloved Govinda. So the lips of Krishna are so reddish and very soft as well. And the flute is in the middle of Krishna's lips. And Krishna himself is massaging the feet of the flute, because when Krishna is playing the flute, he's moving his fingers, right? Pressing. So the gopis see as Krishna like massaging the flute. And sometimes the flute is saying like, oh, I'm feeling hot, and like, fan me. And then Krishna himself, what does he do? With his eyelids, he's like slowly closing, shutting his eyes up and down, and then like shutting and opening. So it would be like a fanning the flute. So sometimes the gopis praise the flute, sometimes they chastise, sometimes they are jealous, envious of the flute, etc. All this is described. So now let's dive into the Harikatha. Let's enter in the Harikatha. Shukadeva Goswami Pada in the 21st chapter of the 10th canto, he started describing the Purvarag of the gopis, the anticipation in the meeting. So he also described the 6 seasons, which is summer, rainy season, the 6 seasons, okay? So he spoke about the summer. So there's so much dust, everywhere, and it's so hot, like in the summertime in Vrindavan. Like even the back of the deer becomes like so burned, like tanned. Especially in Braj, there's a special kind of wind in the summertime called lu. So maybe day or nighttime, sometimes it's so hot, and then if that wind catches you, like comes in your chest, you start even like bleeding. It's a very strong, like hot flush of air. So it's really strong this summer, very scorches rays of it. And then next season is Varsha, means rainy season. Rainy season. So who feels the happiness first when it rains? Who? The frogs. Why? Because as soon as it rains, the frogs, they come out of their, and they go in the like lakes and water, and they start singing like tuck tuck tuck, making the sound tuck tuck tuck. But then later the snake comes and takes them. So the rainy season was described, and then in the rainy season, so much dirt starts to manifest. Like the water becomes so dirty, or sometimes also too much like lightning, sometimes like, and you're afraid, or sometimes also like drizzling, or sometimes too much wind, and then the current of the rivers become very strong, and also the water of the rivers becomes so like full of soil, and becomes like dirty because of a lot of raining in the soil, and the living being's life become like, example, maybe sometimes there's flood. If it rains too much, then they can flood, and sometimes even big trees, they are uprooted and they go in the flood or strong wind. Like some things, they they just get affected by the storm, and they just break down. So people are afraid, of course. So rainy season is trying to show, see how I'm nice. Like, look, in the summer you're struggling with the heat, but now I am refreshing you. Look how I am good, like this. And then next season is autumn. So in the autumn season, the Prithvi Devi, means Earth planet, is so beautiful. The plants, the trees, the creepers, they are so beautiful, like leaves and flowers are blossoming. The fragrance is amazing. And then the current of the river slowly they start like slowing down. Like they become calmer. And even the water of the like lakes like Manasi Ganga, Kusum Sarovar, all the lakes in Braj, all of them, their waters become so clear. And many kinds of flowers they blossom. Also of aquatic birds, like water birds that live in the water, they also are there. The water is so pure in the autumn season. So we can see that when the sadhaka is performing bhajana slowly, from Shraddha stage, fifth stage, then going through the stages of sadhusanga, bhajana, krana, nivriti, nista, ruchi, ashakti. When the sadhaka comes in the stage of ashakti, deep attachment, then slowly, all the lust, the anger in his heart start to be pacified. Means all the dirt of his heart is going down. Means his heart is becoming cleansed. So when the devotee attains the stage of bhav, then all the that dirt goes away completely, and then attaining prem, then the devotee becomes completely absorbed in prem. So, like Gurudev was saying, the rainy season is like showing a lot of pride. Like, oh, I'm better than the summer. I give the refreshment. But now the autumn is like so decorated. The nature is so beautiful, The in Vrindavan, the flowers blossoming. When Krishna is entering the forest of Vrindavan, the plants, the trees, they welcome Krishna. The trees, with its beautiful petals of the flowers, the trees decorate the floor of Vrindavan. Like for example, if someone great personality is coming to an assembly or to a place, we offer him a beautiful path that he can go through with flowers and fragrance. So in the same way, when Krishna enters Vrindavan with his friends, with the other cowherd boys, all the trees, they're welcoming Krishna. They are decorating the floor and welcoming Krishna with petals of flowers. The whole Vrindavana becomes ornamented with these petals on the floor. Imagine somebody making like a carpet with many colors, like a patchwork carpet, like so many colors. Because the trees, they have so much mamata, possessiveness. Also, service should be like that. All the service you do should be full of mamata. When you have sambandha again, then you can serve with mamata, possessiveness. Everyone is serving, but when you serve, you must have mamata, means possessiveness, love and affection. And that will make the heart very thick or condensed. So the trees of Vrindavan, they are thinking, Krishna's feet is so soft. Imagine, we don't want Krishna's feet to, be hurt by any kind of stone or any kind of, some thorn. So it's look like there's a carpet on the floor of Vrindavan made by the trees. So when Krishna is coming, also these big trees with its long branches, the trees are embracing Krishna. With its leaves, the trees are fanning Krishna. And the trees, with its fruits, they're feeding Krishna. Beautiful and delicious yummy fruits feeding Krishna. And the creepers start dancing. They start dancing. In Vrindavan, the trees are like grihastas, like families. How is this family life? So that house in which the husband, wife, sons and daughters, if they are one-pointed serving Krishna, that house is called. Then it's like for Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jedi Nagri he bhajna dekhi. Sorry. So in that family life, which everyone is serving Krishna, that house is Goloka Vrindavan. Nitai Gaura Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. Anyway, let me tell you more Harikatha. Shukadeva Goswami Pan. He said, Shukadeva Goswami Pada said, Hey Maharaj Parikit, hey King, this beautiful autumn season came to Vrindavana. So because of that, the rivers and the nature was so beautiful, full of water when the autumn season arrived. There were beautiful lotus blossoming in the lakes, spreading a beautiful fragrance on the air. It's a beautiful environment in the autumn season. And then in that moment, the cowherd boys, they were with Krishna. And they entered in Vrindavan with Krishna. So this beautiful verse, the acharyas describe Krishna. So the verse didn't take the name of Krishna, but called him as Achyuta. What is the meaning of Achyuta? Achyut is someone who can never not follow his own nature. Achyuta. So what is the... Each substance has a property or like a nature. That's your dharma, the nature, swabhav. So dharma means, for example, the nature, right? The nature of this water is to be liquid. So in the same way, Bhagavan, Achyuta Krishna, he has one natural quality. Which one? To manifest as Dhir Lalit Nayak, this kind of hero. So according to the kind of the devotee, Bhagavan manifests the nature also accordingly to that devotee. But his original form, Mul Swarup, is Dhir Lalit Nayak, this kind of a hero, special kind of hero. So Dhir Lalit Nayak. So Dhir Lalit Nayak, this kind of hero, has 4 qualities. One is Presi Vasibhut, means controlled by his beloved. Second, Parihaspato, expert in joking and speaking very nicely. He speaks very nicely and he's very funny. And he can attract everyone with his speech. Third, Nishchintata, free of worries. He has no worries. Careless, no careless, no, it's free of worries. And then, fourth quality, Navajovanancha, which is always manifesting in a ever newly fresh, beautiful form. This Swarup, this form of Krishna, is eternal, Nitya. And depending on the devotee, the devotee will realize that form accordingly. The explanation is that they make a comparison with a stone called Vaidurjamani. It's like a crystal that has all the 7 colors inside. But depending on the angle of vision, when you look at that stone, you can see different colors. Like, for example, yellow, blue, etc. So in the same way, Bhagavan Krishna manifests different forms depending on the mode of the devotee. For example, the devotee who has Dasya mode of servitorship, God manifests in front of him as Narayana, or maybe like Ramchandra. If the devotee has, this. Okay, so if the devotee has Shanta Pradhan Dasya, means more Shanta than Dasya, then Bhagavan appears to him as Narayana. But if the devotee has more Dasya, then Bhagavan appears as Rama. So the associates will also be accordingly. Because the associates of Bhagavan also match the kind of mood that he's showing, and the form, that's actually depending on the mood of the devotee also, who is reciprocating it. So in Vaikuntha, Shantarasa is prominent and Dasya is secondary. And the associates there in Vaikuntha, who are they? For example, Garud, Vishekshana, they are the devotees there. Actually, Bhagavan is never hungry. Of course not. Bhagavan is never hungry. Bhagavan doesn't feel thirst. No. Bhagavan is Atmaram, Aptakam. Yes, but if the devotees offer him, then he'll accept. If the devotees give him, then accept. For example, Garuda, he's always sitting 5 meters far from Bhagavan, always in the Virasan, like ready to move. If Bhagavan tells him something, then he will do it. Like he won't sit close to Krishna. Okay, we see that in Vaikuntha, Lakshmi Devi, she's serving his feet means massaging his feet. How long she'll be able to do that? The whole night, massaging his feet? Anyway, so Bhagavan says, that's why Bhagavan says, I don't stay in Vaikuntha, I don't stay in the heart of the yogis. I stay where my devotees glorify my Harikatha. I am not always in Vaikuntha, Bhagavan. Krishna says, like Lord says, I'm not in the heart of the yogis also, but I am present where my devotees glorify my beautiful pastimes. I directly appear there. In Ayodhya, this same Bhagavan Vishnu, Bhagavan Krishna appears in as Ram, and then that in Ayodhya, who is there? Hanuman, who has Shuddha Dasa, he's the pure servant, pure service mood. Hanuman. Okay, after that we have what? Sakaras, the friendship mood. So some friendship mood also can be mixed with opulence mood. Aishwarya Mishrit, for example, Arjun has that. Like Bhagavan is giving him the instructions of the Gita. And then at one point, when Bhagavan Krishna showed to Arjun his universal form, Vishwarup, Arjun jumped off the chariot, jump out of the chariot, and he said, "Oh, my friend," like. Like Ramachandra Prabhu was saying, that in Vraj there is only Shuddha Saikya, the pure friendship mode. Subal, Shridam, they're very special in the Sakaras. Krishna showed so much opulence in Vraj actually, but not even one Brajabasi would address Krishna as being Bhagavan. Even though they saw a lot of Aishwarya, means opulent things, like things like that a normal human being cannot do, they wouldn't believe Krishna is God. So all these other abodes, like Vaikuntha, Yoda, Dwaraka, Mathura, and if you put all the opulence in this is in this other place, and you put in one side of the scale, and only the opulence of one particle of dust of Vrindavan in the other side of the scale is still not the same. Means because the opulence, the Aishwarya in Vrindavan is like so huge, gigantic, much more compared even to all the other abodes. But in Vrindavan, all that opulence, it's covered with sweetness. Then Vatsala Ras, parental mood. So Vatsala Ras we see in Mathura, for example, Devaki and Vasudeva are also there. But they have opulence mood mixed. Devaki and Vasudeva, they know, even though Krishna is my son, he's Bhagavan, Narayan. But in Vrindavan, Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they have Shuddha Vatsalya. How many times Krishna manifested so much opulence? Like imagine Krishna was a baby on the lap of Mother Yashoda and then he just yawned. And then Mother Yashoda saw all the universe in his mouth. But still she was not thinking he's Bhagavan. Krishna drank the forest fire. You know forest fire? Davanal Bokshu. Mridu Bhakshan Lila. Like when Krishna also ate mud. And then Mother Yashoda like twisting his ear. Open your mouth. And then Krishna opened his mouth and then also showed the universe to Mother Yashoda. This video took place in Brahmana Ghat. Anyway, but Mother Yashoda still wouldn't believe he is Bhagavan. Shuddha Vatsalya, pure parental mood. And even higher than that, in the heart of the gopis, who have Madhurya Ras, the mode of lover and beloved. And Krishna says, I'm not interested in the prayer of the Brahma, the hymns of the Vedas. But when my beloved gopis, they chastise me. They call me names, like swear at me. Krishna is actually eager to hear that. Actually, in the Brahmara-gita, you know Brahmara-gita? Actually, who was that Brahmana, that bumblebee? It's actually, Acharya is explaining, it's actually Krishna himself that came in the shape of that bumblebee just to hear Srimati Radhika insulting him, calling him names, swearing at him, because it's so sweet. The the swearing words in Braj. Generally, if someone calls us names, we'll be very upset. Someone like swears at us. But Krishna loves it to hear. Oh, you are thief. You are like you womanizer. You are like, and Krishna loves it because of the prem. So coming back to that shloka about the autumn season, Achyuta. The commentary explains, Achyuta means that person who can never leave his own nature. So Krishna is feeling so much happiness entering the forest of Vrindavan. And the verse refers Krishna as Achyuta. Shukadeva Goswami Pada says, Hey Bhagavan, Hey Parikshit. Like Shukadeva Goswami told Parikshit Maharaj. No, sorry, the way around. Vrindavan is so beautiful. Many flowers blossomed. Everyone's so happy. So there's a Tattva Siddhanta behind this also. To relish Rasa Madhurya in the sweetness moods, 4 things are important. One thing is Desh, means the place. Place is important. So what is the place here? Vrindavan. And second point, time, Kal is very important. So which Kal, which time is, which one is being described? Sarat Ritu means autumn season. Itam Saradam, this verse from the Venu-gita starts like this, mentioning the autumn season. Third thing is important, Patra and Patri means those who are involved in the pastime, who is like the characters. Who? Naika. Krishna is the hero, gopis are the heroine, Naikas. And fourth, very important, is udipan, stimulation. So these four things are very, very important to consider. So this verse here describes Vrindavana Dham is so beautiful in the autumn season. And in Vrindavan, there are so many beautiful flowers that are like Madhavi, Malati, and all these beautiful flowers, they are all blossomed. Also, bumblebees and bees, honeybees, they are like humming, and the cuckoo bird singing, peacock, peahen dancing. So beautiful. And the beehive is dropping from the you know the honey is dropping from the beehive, beautiful beehive, like the honey combs and all that. The river, the ponds, their water is so clear. So Krishna is with the cowherd boys, Baladev Prabhu also. So Krishna is playing the flute in a beautiful, beautiful melody. So now it's coming to the point that when Krishna starts playing the flute, so the sound of the flute is reaching until where? Like how far it's reaching? So here's described that Lakshmi Devi herself, she actually beautifies Vrindavan. She like ornaments Vrindavan. But actually, who is she? Sarva Lakshmi is Shrimati Radhika herself, the potency of Krishna. And she's actually doing everything. Bhagavan, he performs pastimes, leelas, with his Ladini Shakti, his pleasure potency. Shrimati Radhika. And her bodily explanations, the Kaya Vyuha. He performs pastimes with them. So there are many kinds of trees and creepers, many different kinds of flowers blossom, and then Madhupati, calling Krishna Madhupati, has two meanings. Krishna is Madhupati himself. And also the month is Madhumas. The 2 months called Chaitra and Vaishakha, they are known as Madhumas, like the honey month. So Krishna himself is doing pastimes in this, like this month, they also refer to Krishna himself. That gives happiness to everyone. So as soon as Krishna took birth in Braj, Braj became so beautified. Jatite adhikam janmana braja. Jayatite adhikam. When Vrindavan is so glorious, because why or since when? From the day Krishna took birth in Braj, the day Krishna appeared in Braj, then Prithvi Devi means Dariti Devi, the earth planet, manifested in such a beautiful way. And Lakshmi Devi, not only one, but the unlimited Vaikunta Lakshmis from unlimited Vaikunta planets. She's coming to Vrindavan and she's sweeping the floor. In Vaikunta, sorry, she's the Queen Maharani, but in Vrindavan, she's the sweeper. But because actually it's not an ordinary thing to be able to sweep the floor of Vrindavan, to broom the floor of Vrindavan. Prabhupada Saraswati Pada says the following: if I become a broomstick of the broom, a stick of the broom in Nidivan or Sevakunj, my life is successful. Applause, at least, please, applause for that. Applause. You don't want to applause for Vrindavan? To like. Clap for Vrindavan. Prabodhananda Saraswati says the following. When Srimati Radhika Bhanu Nandini, she's in Man and she closed her door. Krishna, who is the Supreme Lord, Parat Paratattva, the Supreme Absolute Truth, he comes to the door of Srimati Radhika's Kunja and he's like rubbing his nose on the ground. He's like begging. Okay, he's begging to the Sakhis, please, once, let me meet Swamini. Let me see her. But at that time, Srimati Radhika, she's so angry in sulky mood. What speak of opening the door? Even inside, the Sakhis were inside. Srimati Radhika sends them away, like kicks them out. Go. Finally, Krishna loses all his hope and he leaves that place. That Shikanda Mauli, that Krishna who has a peacock feather on his head. The demigods are always praising his feet, like he's praising him, and praising him with Veda mantras, hymns. These different mantras of the Vedas, like this one. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Pada. Suradas also said one thing in his song. He said, नारद से सुख व्यास रटे पचिहारे पुने कहू पार न पावे ताहे अही किछु हरिया छछियावर छाछते नाचा इतने बड़े-बड़े लोग जिसकी और गोपियां क्या करती बस. So great demigods, they are praising Krishna, the great personalities, but the gopis, like Krishna is at their feet. So what I want to say, to take birth as a broomstick in Vrindavana, in a broom, it's not an ordinary thing. You want to become a manjari, that's good. Okay, you can have that desire, it's a beautiful desire, aspiration, but don't think to become a broomstick in Vrindavan is not an ordinary thing. Brahma and great demigods, this is even rare for them. So, how Krishna is with his friends playing the flute. Shudam Shudam Balaram Subal. So they also play their horns and flutes in the same like melody as Krishna, in the same tone, like a note. In that time, all the living entities become so attracted by the sound of Krishna's flute, and everyone become completely stunned in their happiness, ananda, bliss, and it's impossible to even describe exactly what happens. So, coming to this point of where the sound of the flute reached, the sound reached the gopis. At that time, the gopis of Vrindavan, the women of Vrindavan, they were inside their houses, and they were sitting with the like-minded friends, affection friends, like dear friends, sitting with these like-minded and dear friends, like girlfriends, like women together also, and they were describing the beautiful form of Krishna, and they were trying to hide their own moods. and actually imposing what they're feeling on other people. That's called avahita bhav. Means you're not telling directly what you feel in your heart. You're hiding what you feel, but you're imposing towards other and describing like other people are feeling, but actually you are feeling. So all these Vrajagopis, so they still have the sprout of prema in their heart, prema ankur. So this anuraga towards Krishna, the perfection, is slowly growing. What is the meaning of an anuraga? Anuraga is when your beloved, it's actually every time looking like your beloved seems every time, newly fresh, every moment. Especially about the gopis, the two qualities of anuraga are there. Parasparanu snehanu bandhanam means when the lover and beloved are completely bound to each other because of the love and affection. And also darshanaya triptata means they feel so much happiness in Krishna, bliss. And then when they see him again, they think, oh, actually, I never saw him before. Because his form is so beautiful and ever fresh, newly and beautiful. So when does Krishna manifest the topmost beautiful form? When does Krishna manifest the topmost beautiful form? In the rasa study, the rasa dance. When Krishna is in the rasa dance, when Krishna, he's holding Shrimati Radhika with his left arm next to her. Krishna manifests such a beautiful form, the topmost beautiful form, and Rupa Goswami describes. Hey Srimati Radhika. This verse of Rupa Goswami describes Srimati Radhika, your beauty, your sweetness is actually more like your beauty, even wins over the beauty and qualities of even millions, unlimited of Lakshmis. And when Krishna is with you and he's holding you with his left arm, holding you, means in the Ras Lila, Krishna is three-bent-fold, like curved form, playing the flute, and with one hand, left arm, left hand, Krishna is embracing Srimati Radhika, embracing her. At that time, Krishna with his left arm, he's embracing Srimati Radhika. At that time, who can describe their beauty and the sweetness of their form? I want to see that form. Rupa Goswami is saying. The topmost beautiful form of Krishna is only manifested when he is with Srimati Radhika in the Rasa Lila. So after hearing the sound of the flute, the deep attachment, the anuraga in the heart of the gopis started like increasing and expressing, being more expressed in a way that they completely forsake. They forsake everything. They sacrifice their patience, chastity, rules of the society, and they start actually showing their love in a way, right? Because that's the power of the sound of the flute. So Actually, since childhood, the gopis used to play with Krishna. But when they started growing up, they had to be far, like they were separated from him. So they had this natural love towards Krishna, and by becoming separated from him, just like the fire, this love was increasing even more, just like the flames of the fire. Because the farther or the further you are from something, the more you will be attracted towards that thing. Gopis and Krishna, they have an eternal relationship. So there are three ways of prema manifesting. One is darshan jata prem, means you develop prem because you saw Bhagavan, saw God. And then God, second, shravan jata prem, develop prem by hearing about him. Third is sahajata prem, means spontaneous and natural love. Darshan jata prem, the example about it is Kubja. So when Kubja saw Govinda for the first time, prema appeared in her heart. So Kubja is Darshan Jata Prem. Rukmini is an example of Shravan Jata Prem. Because Rukmini was going to get married with Shishupal. She was about to get married to Shishupal. But the day before her wedding, Narada she came and he told her about Krishna. And then hearing about Krishna, Rukmini felt so much eagerness to meet with Krishna, to marry him. And so that the whole explanation about the Rukmini, like how Krishna kidnapped her. So this kind of prem is called Shravan Jata Prem. But the gopis' love is actually Sahajata Prem. Sahaj Prem means spontaneous and natural. So actually the prem, the gopis is Sahajata, means is completely natural. Actually, about that, I have to tell you something, that actually everything is already in the heart of the jiva. Some people say, no, it's not. It comes by association. But some people say, no, even like that, not possible. People say different things. Some people say, according to the association you have, you'll develop that same color or same mood. But some people say, even other thing, they say, you'll become your whole life tatasta because you came from tatasta shakti, marginal, so you'll only be like that forever. You have come from which potency? Tatasta, marginal. So you're never gonna get service. You'll only be tatasta, means marginal forever. Some people even say that. Some people dare to say that, but it's actually not true. When the soul manifested from the tatasta shakti, the soul already has a potency. Just like, for example, the mustard seed. Mustard seed. Inside the mustard seed, there's oil. There even like everything in a certain way. Like, for example, how the leaves and the plant. If you put the mustard seed in the soil and you give it proper heat, water, that seed will sprout and will become a plant, and then will grow big. And in the future, will give also flowers and fruits. So in the same way, when the soul manifests from Tatasta Shakti, actually it's already, your potency is already in your heart. So you already have with you, the Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says in this verse, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabu Noy. By doing Shravana Kirtan, chanting and hearing, just manifest the potency you already have in your hearts. That's it. You already have everything. You have everything. By hearing Harikatha from pure devotee, what happens? Slowly, what you have will sprout. For example, if there was no potency in the seed, even if you tried again and again, like hammering, like hitting with the hammer, that seed, Never, for example, rice will come. For example, I give an example. Guru is giving an example of the rice. If it's a rice plant, rice will come. If it's not rice plant, then no rice will come. So, example, Narada Rishi. He gave association to many devotees, even to the Pandavas. Narada gave his association to the Pandavas, and also to Dhruva Maharaja, also his association and mantra. So Dhruva Maharaj became which gopi? You tell me. And Prahlad Maharaj, what about him? He also got the association of Narada Rishi. He also got Gopi Bhav. But it was not possible to attain that mood. Like the Pandavas, even they tried to become like trees, do austerities, but they couldn't attain that mood. Another example is Murari Gupta. Mahaprabhu told him to do Krishna bhajans, worship Krishna. He couldn't. But then some people like try some argument and they say, oh, they are eternal associates. But also we also will serve under the guidance of the parikaras of the eternal associates. So you already have a potency in your heart. Some are like Dasarasa, some Sakarasa, some Vatsalarasa, some Madhurya-rasa. Different kinds of moods. You already have everything. You have. But now just in a subtle way. By sadhu sangha, hearing Harikatha, slowly this mood of your heart will appear. So by hearing the sound of the flute, the gopis become like crazy. Unmadini. Beautiful Tata Siddhanta described here. All the gopis, they have deep attachments. So may Maharaj continues give us blessings. May you come back quickly. I think if you call me, then I come to have your darshan. I think Maharaj is going to travel Shripad Padmanabh Maharaj somewhere. Let's do some kirtan now. Yeah. Then I'll describe some of Krishna's form and then we'll do arati.
Hello. Jai Radhe. Jai Sri Radhe.
So I'll translate the first, I think, 10 or 15 minutes, or whatever I can while the kirtan is going on from the beginning of the class, that I got a little bit late starting the translation. So Gurudev is doing pranam to his Gurudev, Guru Varga, to all the devotees, to all the assembly. Those who are there, please accept my pranams. So we, today, in Radharaman Bihari Gauriya Mart, we are sitting here, and we are directly here next to Gurudev's lotus feet. And we sitting here to hear Bhagavad Katha. Actually, we don't have the 7 days to do the Bhagavad Katha. So that's why I decided to do only for 3 days. Bhagavad is directly the form of God Himself. When Bhagavan Krishna finished his pastimes in the end of Dwapara Yuga, and he went to the abode of Lord, to the spiritual world, then Kali Yuga started at that time. The human beings in Kali Yuga, they are full of so many faults. Then Krishna himself, he reappeared as the Bhagavatam. There's no doubt that Bhagavatam is directly the form of God Himself. So in the Padma Purana, it's described how actually Bhagavatam has 12 cantos. The first and second canto is the 2 feet of Krishna. third and fourth are Bhagavan's two thighs. Fifth canto, Bhagavan's navel. Sixth and seventh canto are Bhagavan's two arms. Eighth canto is Bhagavan's chest. Ninth canto, Bhagavan's throat. 10th canto, Bhagavan's beautiful smiling face. So beautiful and smiling face. 10th canto. In the 11th canto is Bhagavan's forehead. 12th canto, top of his head. So by taking shot of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the jiva very easily is able to overcome the ocean of Maya. By taking shelter in the Bhagavatam, the jiva very easily is able to cross this huge ocean of material existence just by hearing Harikatha. So there are 9 limbs of bhakti described in the scriptures. Shravanakya bhakti, Shravana kirtan. By doing that, you'll be able to cross the ocean of material existence. So now the 10th canto is so sweet. Now we're coming to the 10th canto. It's so sweet, so sweet. Some people say we should not study or read or listen to the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. Gurudeva, Srila Bhaktivedanta, Srila Narayana Goswami Maharaj, Srila Vamana Maharaja used to preach, like to cut this argument. And he used to establish this Siddhanta by even quoting the Bhagavatam itself. In the 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, from the 29th chapter to the 33rd chapter, it's described in these 5 chapters, Rasa Lakata and the affairs of Krishna with the gopis, loving affairs, very confidential. Harikatha is in there. It's 5 chapters. It's called Panchapran, the 5 life airs. Just like the 5 life airs, we have how many life airs in our body? Also 5. But Shastra describes 10 Panchapran, like 10 life air, but 5 are me. So also the 29th chapter into the 33rd chapter of the 10th canto Bhagavatam, it's called Panchapran, 5 life airs. So in the end of Raslila Katha in the Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami Pad, he told, and he actually how to say ascertained that we must hear this Harikatha. Shukadeva Goswami gives evidence in this verse that the Srimad Bhagavad Katha, especially the Raslila Katha, so he's describing like a very hidden secrets of the Raslila Katha here. Because if you hear with faith, this verse explains how you must hear with so much faith. Our acharyas say that it's called Atyantika Shraddha, unflinching faith. Unflinching faith. You must hear with faith. So much glorious, just the fact of hearing this Harikatha of the Raslila Katha. So the Bhakta says, if the Bhagavad Katha is going on, if you just manifest the desire to hear this Harikatha, immediately Bhagavan will comes in your heart. It will come in your heart and will sit in your heart. And then when you actually start hearing, he'll clean your heart. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So beautiful Katha. So Srimad Bhagavad Katha is not an ordinary Katha. Especially this discussion about the Braj Gopis. Also is not ordinary. So the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam has 5 Gitas, 5 songs. And in these Gitas, actually, Shukadev Goswami is describing the moods of the gopis. Even though in the Bhagavatam, actually there are many Gitas in the Bhagavatam, in like many songs, Gitas in the whole Bhagavatam. Rudra Gita, Lila Gita. But especially Venu-gita is being described now. So first Venu-gita, then after that Pranay-gita, then after that Gopi-gita, then after that Jugala-gita, then Brahmana-gita. So these 5 gitas are actually expressing the sweetness of actually the separation mode. I was already translating here, so I think we covered the part that was missing in the translation. Now coming back to the live kirtan is going on. So, Gurudev is saying, Prasad will be there for everyone, everybody leave without leaving Prasad. There'll be arati. And also come back the next 2 days, not only today. So, this Purva Raga Kata, this Anuraga of the gopis inside their heart, the sound of the flute was able to awake or to express this Anuraga, which was in hearts of the gopis. Please applause, clap for that. Did you understand? This Anuraga was just hidden in the heart of the gopis. The strong affection that was in the heart of the gopis, completely hidden, was expressed or awakened or expressed by the sound of the flute. Example: is the fire present inside the wood? Yes. Yes. The element fire is inside the wood. Just like the fire is inside the wood. I have to rub that wood to see the spark of the fire. I'm not giving this example. The commentary that Gurudev is giving directly here in this book, Venu-gita. They had already this anurag in their heart, but the sound of the flute is manifesting, like making it like expressed. These gopis are Nitya Siddha gopis, eternal associates. There are actually many kinds of gopis described in the scriptures, true. Like I told before, the Siddhanta. Swapaksha, Vipaksha, Tatasapaksha, Sohidipaksha. There are many kinds of gopis. Nitya Siddha, Sadhana Siddha, Jyotikya, Jyotiki, Shruti-chari, Muni-chari. There are many kinds of gopis, but those who had this hidden, latent love for Krishna was the ones that this sound of the flute awoke. These gopis, they gave up their patience, their shame, and they just manifested their bhavs. The gopis didn't break any rule, any etiquette. Women have one speciality: shyness. Lajanam, narinam, bhushanam. In Sanskrit, it said that the best ornament of a woman is her shyness. And also patience. Arts. I mean, many qualities the women have. Hearing the sound of the flute, they were so eager to meet him, so eager. The gopis, they actually wanted to hide their bhav. So I told this is called avahita bhav. So they're hiding their own moods, and they're speaking something about Krishna. How they're describing their bhav? They're telling what they feel to their like-minded friends. Example, Chandravali, she's speaking to her friends, to her group. So there's something specific about it, which is there's like Gopi Samaj, means like one thing is Gopi Samaj. Samaj means society or assembly of gopis. And also they have their own gan. Gan means group or small group. So they're actually telling this to their own like groups, like to their own like assembly or society or this small groups also. They just want to describe Krishna's beauty, but they do it indirectly, paroksha. The commentary explains here. They're not manifesting what they actually feel in their hearts, but they're indirectly speaking about it, like speaking about someone else. So that's called avahita bhav. Example: somebody who loves to eat. Some people who are so greedy for food. Someone who was like Bhim. Bhim was like this. Bhim Sen. Or anyway, he used to eat a lot. So some people are like this. So if that person comes in a friend's house, that friend, when he receives this friend, he will actually cook many things and prepare many food items for him. But then the friend will say, "Oh, but why did you cook so many things? Did you cook all this for me?" Then the host will say, "No, no, 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 not for you. It's because today is the appearance day of our deity. Today is the Virbhava Tithi of our deity. So it's a lucky coincidence that you also came to our house the same day." If the host, the friend who is hosting the other friend, said like clearly, "Yeah, yeah, I cooked all this for you," then the friend will be very ashamed and maybe even say, "No, no, I'm actually not hungry," and or something like that. He would be ashamed. So in the same way, Shastra says to feed someone who is very greedy for food, you don't really say that you made all that for that person. So in the same way, the gopis, they're also hiding their moods and they're describing things about Krishna. But then one gopi said, "Oh, I wanted to speak this. How did you know my bhav? I also wanted to say this." Here Shukadeva Goswami is saying that all the gopis, so they are in their own assembly or samaj, sitting with their own ganas, their groups, and glorifying the beauty of Krishna. The form of Bhagavan is transcendental. By hearing about Krishna and speaking about him, you become completely absorbed. To become absorbed is a special quality of bhakti. So to attain Bhagavan, there are many ways to attain Bhagavan according to the scriptures. How did the gopis attain Bhagavan? Through their kamat, like lust. How did the gopis attain to Krishna? Means their prema actually. By serving. Sorry, here the meaning is not like lust or some negative meaning in it. Lust. Actually, kama in relation to the gopis means transcendental love. Aprakrita prem. They attain Krishna like this. Kamsa also attained Bhagavan. How? By fear. He was always afraid. From that day that there was an aerial voice, the aerial voice saying, "Oh, Kamsa, foolish, you're marrying very nicely, like with a big celebration, your sister. Her eighth womb will be Krishna himself, like Vishnu, that will kill you." From that moment on, Kamsa was terrified. Whenever he was like doing anything, like sleeping, eating, walking, he was always absorbed, thinking Vishnu, Vishnu is coming. So he was absorbed. He absorbed himself in Vishnu. By Kamsa. Second example, Sneha. Who attained Lord by Sneha affection? The Pandavas. The Pandavas, they had so much affection to Bhagavan. That's why Bhagavan, after going many places, he would always come and rest in the house of the Pandavas. Narada Rishi glorified the Pandavas in this verse, Yuyam Nirulake Bataburi Bhaga. This verse says, Narada Rishi saying, Hey Yudhishthir Maharaj, you are so lucky. Because Sakshat Parabrahma Bhagavan Krishna, God Himself, the Supreme Lord, after like wandering or traveling or something, He comes and rests in your house. Or after like going many places, He comes and rests in your house. He's performing pastime like you're in your house like a human being. And He's in your house. So the dust on the how to call it in English is like the the small the doorstep of the house. So the demigods, they come and take that dust daily from the doorstep of your house. And the Pandavas, they relate with Lord in so many ways, different relationships. So Kama, then Desha. Desha, who attained Lord by Desha means envy, Shishupal. By Desh means enviousness. Shishupal was always criticizing Krishna. After 100 times, he chastised Krishna, like called him names. When it came to 101, as soon as it came to 101 swearing words, Bhagavan cut off his head. So he also attained Bhagavan. Then Sneha and Bhayam Bhate Vibho. Narada Rishi is saying, we attain Bhagavan by bhakti. So which one is the highest? The prema of the gopis, which is this lust, kamatimika bhakti, transcendental love of the gopis. So this is the way to attain Bhagavan. In the Venu-gita, it's explained like how to attain Bhagavan easily. If you become completely absorbed in the Shravana Kirtan, then you attain Bhagavan, whether you know Tattva Siddhanta or not. Just absorb yourself in Bhagavan, that's it. You're gonna attain everything, everything. What else you need to do? Many sages, life after life, they're trying to chant holy names in the time of death, but it's so hard. Many Gyanis and great like assets, people who control their senses and everything, they're not able to attain Bhagavan in the time of their death. But the gopis, they just got so absorbed in Krishna. If you're not absorbed in Him, you can never attain Him. There was a king called Ben Raja, very evil. He also just like called Krishna's names and swore at him, but he was not absorbed, so he didn't attain Bhagavan. So to attain Krishna, you have to absorb yourself in Him. No need to do anything else. So if you're hearing, but you should be absorbed completely. Tadatma buddhi, like one with Him, with the Harikatha, thinking about Him. Example is given. There's one insect in the kitchen. What is the name? Flying cockroach. In Hindi, how do you call a cockroach? Tel chakta. Anyway, big cockroach, So there's a kind of like a wasp, but yellow wasp that catches the cockroach and keeps like making the noise with the wings in front of the cockroach, and then the cockroach becomes absorbed in wasp and becomes like a form like the wasp. Tagore Pramanande Harirba. Bhakta describes this example. So like if you become completely absorbed, you attain what you were absorbed in. Not by shlokas or pandita means being, you learn many verses, but in the time of your death, you will remember any verse. If you only 2 syllables come in your mouth in the time of death, that's great. Maybe some people are very fortunate, like Madhacharya, or they are Nitya Parikaras also, but not normal people cannot do like that. in the time of death, just somehow, just take the holy names. That's it. In time of death, that's it. But great rishis, munis, they are life after death, endeavoring to chant holy names in time of death, but they are unable to. Or also another meaning of this verse is that by endeavoring life after life, then in the time of death you might be able to chant holy names. It's not so easy. So two meanings possible in this verse. Janama Janama Muni Jatana Karai. There's two meanings this verse. Because why you have to endeavor so much? Because you have to be absorbed when you chant holy names and when you tell Harikatha, when you hear Harikatha. So many people hear Harikatha, and also many people give Harikatha. So you have to be absorbed completely to get the bhav. So in the context of the story of Gokarna and Dondukari, it's explained that you get the fruit only when you remember, like absorb. Like example, Dondukari, he left the body of ghost and was delivered. And the other listeners, they were complaining, oh, only chariot came for your brother, not to us. They asked, Gokarna. Gokarna said, no, it's because my brother remembered. He heard Harikatha, but he also remembered. So when you hear Harikatha or when you speak about Krishna, if you're completely absorbed, then you can attain the bhav. So to attain Gopi Bhava is very hard and also very easy. So Shukadeva Goswami said, "Oh Maharaj Parikshit, this anuraga, which was in the Gopi's heart in a latent position or hidden position, by hearing the sound of the flute, just like the fire starting, the flames of fire burning started to manifest by hearing the sound of the flute. So again and again, I repeat also, this mood is also in the heart of the jivas, in the soul. Different rasas, maybe Shanta Dasa, Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhuri. One of these five main rasas you have already in your heart in a subtle way, like potency position in your heart. It's like in a potency, as a potency in your heart. So you just have to manifest it. So example is given. Just like the fire is in the wood, but when the wind comes, like when you rub, there's so much wind, and the two branches of the tree they start rubbing. What happens is some forest fire comes like this, and then this forest fire is so huge and is able to even burn the whole forest. So the fire was there, but because of the wind it manifested. So the same way, this anurag in the gopi's heart, by the sound of the flute, now is manifesting. But the gopis say, sorry, there's something also about it, that the love is just like camphor. You know camphor? Karpur? Kapur? Kapur. If you open the camphor, like openly like this, it will be destroyed, like it will disappear, vanquish. So that's why the camphor like evaporates, so that's why you have to keep the camphor always in a hidden, like a box or something, a closed, enclosed recipient. So the more the gopis hide the love in their hearts, the more relatable it is. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shachinandana Gaura Hari, to benefit all the jivas of this world, he's manifesting, he's distributing this prem to all the jivas. Just something I forgot to say, in the story of Gokarna Dandukari, Gurudeva mentioned, the other listeners, they were telling Gokarna, maybe he bribed you, that's why Dandukari got the chariot and we didn't. So coming back, The gopis with avahita bhav means hiding their own mood and actually imposing what they feel upon someone else. They're glorifying the beautiful form of Krishna. Beautiful description of Krishna's form. Each person, depending on their qualification, they will see Krishna in a different way. And also Bhagavan will manifest his form in a different way depending on that person. This verse, actually Srimati Radhika herself, she told this verse, Barahapiram Natavaravapu. She described the beautiful form of Krishna, his Rupa Madhuri, the sweetness of his form. So in the beginning of Harikatha, I mentioned how Krishna has 4 extraordinary qualities. Rupa Madhuri, Lila Madhuri, Prema Madhuri, Venu Madhuri. Rupa Madhuri, the sweetness of his form. Who is describing the form of Krishna? Srimati Radhika herself. She's sitting with her friends, with her like-minded friends, Sajatya friends, and then she's sitting and she's describing the form of Krishna. And she's saying, oh, my friend, wow, see how gorgeous is Krishna. So she's having beautiful darshan of Krishna with her eyes of bhav. Time is up already, yeah? The gopis, they're saying, oh, Krishna is entering Vrindavan with his friend. Peacock feather on his head. Karnikara flowers behind his ears. His yellow cloth. On his neck, a beautiful garland made with 5 kinds of flowers that goes until his knee. He looks like a dancer. And he's actually, the nectar of his lips is flowing through the trees. Sorry, flowing through the flute. And this Vrindavan is even better than Vaikuntha. And also the feet of Krishna has many symbols, and then these footprints of Krishna decorate the floor of Vrindavan. So when Krishna enters in Vrindavan, so this is a translation of this verse, no? Barahapidam Natavaravapu. So Krishna enters Vrindavan and Vrindavan becomes so embellished, like beautiful. How? Because of the footprints of Krishna. Prabhupada Saraswati Pad, he described even 2 fingers more, like even a little bit more. The beauty and sweetness of Vrindavana manifests from where? From the Srimati Radhika's footprints. From Srimati Radhika's footprints. Prabhupada Saraswati Pad, he says, who can describe the beauty of Vrindavan? How is the beauty of Vrindavana? Prabhupada Saraswati Pada says, by the lotus hands of Srimati Radhika, she personally with her lotus hands, she plants beautiful creepers. Beautiful creepers. When Krishna enters in Vrindavan, so these creepers, they are taught, trained by Srimati Radhika. So when Krishna comes in Vrindavan, these creepers, they start like dancing and like welcoming Krishna. Just like by the touch of Srimati Radhika's hands, these creepers start moving and welcoming Krishna. Just like a dancer. Sometimes moves up and down. I've seen like how you dance. How is a dancer? They're moving up and down to the side, to the other side, like moving the body. Sometimes like, like bending your body, sometimes going with the body back, like bending your body to the front and to the back. So in the same way, the creepers are like dancing, welcoming Krishna. One kind of the art is called the art of dancing, Nritya Kala. There's no place in Vrindavan where you cannot see the footprints of Srimati Radhika. The whole Vrindavan is actually ornamented with the footprints of Krishna, of Srimati Radhika. One time Krishna was grazing the cows, and then Krishna started just standing under the strong sun, holding like a cloth, like just holding his pitambar, like a umbrella, like in an umbrella position. And then the friends of Krishna asked, "Why are you doing this?" And then Krishna said, "Because Srimati Radhika is here, standing." Because Krishna actually saw only the footprints of Srimati Radhika, and he thought it was actually Srimati Radhika herself standing there. Prabhupada Saraswati Pad said, the birds in Vrindavan, they're actually glorifying Srimati Radhika. No one else. They're glorifying Srimati Radhika because who is the Swamini of Vrindavan? It's Srimati Radhika. If you go to Vrindavan, what will you say? Radhe, Radhe. Because if you eat someone's salt, you need to glorify that person. Like if you eat that person's food, you have to glorify that person. Because you have to, even if you didn't like, you said, "Oh, very nice food, very nice." So, like, who is the ruler of Vrindavan? Is Srimati Radhika. So, of course, you have to glorify her. Some people say, "Why do I have to say Radhe Radhe in Vrindavan?" Of course, why not? If you stay in Delhi, maybe not say Radhe Radhe. In Vrindavana, you have to say Radhe Radhe. The name of Radha has so much pleasure in it, right? Radha gives so much happiness. Radha Nam Parama Sukhadai. She's the Swamini, mistress of Vrindavan. If you're in Vrindavan, you're not taking the name of your mistress. So actually, Vrindavaneshwari Srimati Radhika will kick you out of the dham. Get out! It's true, that's true. So if you go in Vrindavan, you have to glorify Srimati Radhika. So Prabhupada Saraswati Pada, in his book Radha Rasudhanidhi, he has glorified so beautifully Srimati Radhika only Srimati Radhika. All my mind, stay in Vrindavan and only glorify Srimati Radhika name, Srimati Radhika's name. No need to do anything else. Only glorify Radha Nam. Krishna is like the shade, like the boss of Vrindavan. Srimati Radhika, she's the wife of the boss. Or like he's the example. The husband works hard and he's like very rich, but he gives all his money to his wife. And then the wife actually keeps all the money in the chest. And actually she has the key and the control of the money. So if you go to the boss or to the rich man, and he'll say, no, go to my wife. She's in control of the money. So in the same way, also in Vrindavan. That's why in Vrindavan everyone chants Radhe Radhe Radhe. Please clap. So where you stay in Vrindavan? Radha Adipata Vrindavanam Mama Vasam Mamastume. Radha Adipata Vrindavanam Mama. So you stay in Vrindavan, where only those places where it's controlled by Srimati Radhika. Like for example, Radha Kunda, no one else can go inside. Only the Swapaksha gopis can go there. Chandravali, even Jatilin Kotila cannot go there. But Radhakunda is such a divine transcendental place that Yogamaya protects it completely. And only the gopis in the group of Srimati Radhika are able to enter the Radhakund. The topmost place for us to stay is the Radhakunda. So I'm saying this verse, Barhapiram. Tomorrow we're going to explain more because now time is up already. Actually, I have to stop here. Vancha Kalpatarubhya Shakti Pasinubhavitra Patitam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namo. Now it's already 9 p.m. 9:20. Jai Sri Gurudev ki jai. Sorry, is Arati done? Not yet?